I don't like dealing with things that are troublesome, so please don't get involved with us from now on. And please don't contact my parents either. My parents had asked me to tell you.
Sorry? There were times when we felt that Catherine, who is my eldest son's wife, might be looking down on us even before they got married. This premonition turned out to be true, and it only got worse after they got married. However, her parents had never said anything to us about cutting ties with us. When I told this to my son and her parents, 1 week later, my daughter-in-law came to visit our house with a face as pale as if it were the end of the world.
Please forgive me.
My name is Amy. My husband David and I run a small construction company. Originally, my grandfather started this business, but my father took over. When we first got married, David had a regular office job. However, when my father fell ill, David quit his job and took over the construction company.
Since they've run this company for a long time, it'd be a waste to close it down. I'll take over.
But are you sure?
Yeah, I have no regrets about my current job, and you know I get bored easily, haha.
I remember shedding tears when my husband proposed this. Of course, it wasn't smooth sailing from the beginning, and we went through ups and downs to get this far. The same year as my husband took over the construction company, I gave birth to our eldest son, Matthew, and 3 years later, our second son, Andrew, was born. It was tough to balance work and raising children, but we had no choice but to work hard to protect our children.
Graduated from college and immediately joined a major foreign company, while Andrew is in the midst of training to take over the family construction business.
They were on different paths, but they got along well. And even from a parent's perspective, they were like the ideal brothers. The change in our lives came when Matthew brought his girlfriend to our house during the July long weekend. I'm thinking of marrying this lady, Catherine. I was more surprised than anything by the fact that he brought his girlfriend to introduce her to us. And also the sudden announcement of their engagement, because he had never introduced his girlfriends to us before. However, any astonishment I felt disappeared when I saw his happy face.
That's wonderful. It's still early, but congratulations.
Have you decided when you are going to have a wedding ceremony?
No, not yet. We'll let you know when we decide.
I hope we get along, Catherine.
Yes.
However, Catherine's reaction, who is going to become my daughter-in-law, raised questions. Since she is getting married, she should have a happier expression. There was a noticeable gap in attitude between my son and Catherine, and that gave off an odd vibe. Catherine's expression seemed to carry a hint of hostility, and she looked as if she was looking down on us. And that premonition turned out to be right. Catherine was a more troublesome person than we had imagined. After announcing their engagement, Matthew began to visit us more frequently. However, Catherine, who should be beside him, wasn't there.
Is Catherine not with you today?
I asked her if she could come with me, but she said an urgent work came up, so she couldn't make it.
I see. Well, it can't be helped then. I've only met her once, so I wanted to see her again.
You're right. We also announced our engagement to you suddenly. Next time, I'll make sure to coordinate our schedules and bring her with me.
Sounds good. We'll be looking forward to it then.
I was hoping to meet her, but I would soon be disappointed repeatedly. It wasn't so much about my son, but because I couldn't see any indication that Catherine wanted to meet us. We had exchanged our numbers, but I had never received a message from her, not even once. At this point, I started to doubt that she really wanted to get married to my son. I even started to wonder if Matthew was being deceived. However, I couldn't possibly say such a thing to my son, who had expressed such great joy about getting married. While I had those concerns, I finally met her parents.
Hold on, Matthew. It's been a while since we saw Catherine. Is everything okay?
Of course, everything is fine. Her parents seem very supportive of our marriage, too. You guys don't have to worry about anything.
I hope you're right.
I wanted to believe Matthew's words, but my worries never disappeared. And when we saw her parents as we arrived at the place where we were supposed to meet, I couldn't help but shout, "You are Jane and Tom, right?"
Is that you, Amy? No way. I never expected to reunite with my middle school classmates in a place like this, especially as the parents of my son's fiancée. What a coincidence.
I never imagined our children would get married. I'm surprised.
We were so excited to see each other for the first time in decades that we almost forgot about the two who were the stars of the day. So the introduction of both sides of the families ended smoothly like this. But
Come on, you should greet them properly again. In a sense,
Nice to meet you.
with that brief statement, Catherine left promptly. I noticed that she had the same expression as when she came for the engagement announcement. No, actually I felt that it was even more dismissive. I could vaguely imagine the reasons. Although Matthew never mentioned it, Jane and Tom managed a large construction equipment rental company, far more significant than our small construction firm. Catherine was in a way an heiress. With that in mind, it made sense that she would have a condescending expression. 6 months after that, they got married, and that has also brought changes. I didn't understand why, but Catherine, who had been so reluctant to visit our house, started coming. I would later regret that I was even remotely happy about that.
Welcome, Catherine.
May I say something?
Sure, what is it?
How can you live in such a small place like this?
Sorry.
And your company looks like it's about to go bankrupt soon.
Her comments were so rude that I was about to respond with harsh words. But Matthew intervened.
Catherine, that's a bit too much. It's not. It's clear that they're poor.
Well, if you compare to your family, almost everyone would be poor.
That's not relevant. To marry into a poor family.
If you hate it that much, why did you get married to my son? I wanted to say it to her face, but I decided to hold back for Matthew's sake.
Easy now. Matthew is naturally kind, so he probably couldn't speak too harshly.
Catherine must be aware that he can't speak harshly, so maybe that's why she says whatever she wants. If this place goes out of business, I'll ask my dad to turn it into a parking lot or something.
If you say more than that...
For a moment, Matthew looked angry.
Alright, let's leave it at that for today, and go home. I'll be right behind you, so go ahead. I'm sorry, Mom. I'll have a talk with her later.
It's okay if you understand.
I'll come by again.
Next time, you can come by yourself if you want.
After seeing her such a blatant attitude, I started to feel nostalgic about the time when my son used to come alone. It was less tiring with just him. Since that incident, my trust in Catherine gradually diminished. Then, without any notice, Catherine came to visit our house alone.
Ty, I came because I have something to say. What's up with you all of a sudden?
As soon as she entered the house, Catherine said,
I don't like socializing or anything troublesome. So can you not get involved with us from now on? And please don't contact my parents either. They asked me to tell you.
Excuse me?
I just came today to say that. Bye. I had wondered what was going on because she came by herself, but I never thought that she would say such things. This behavior was clearly not appropriate to say to the parents-in-law. I decided to talk to my husband about what to do with her.
Hey, I have something to talk about.
What's the matter?
Catherine came here by herself today when you weren't here.
I told him that she came to basically cut ties with us, and she also said that Matthew and her parents want to do the same.
His reaction at that time was calmer than I had imagined. Then why don't you try asking Matthew and her parents? You said that her parents were your classmates in middle school, right?
That's right.
His suggestion was a wake-up call for me. I was so focused on taking matters into my own hands that I couldn't even think of such an easy solution. So I called Matthew that evening after Catherine came to visit.
I have something I want to ask.
Alright, hold on a second.
It seems that Catherine was nearby, so he went outside to talk.
Sorry. You don't want her to listen to our conversation, right?
That's right, but how do you know?
Well, I kind of sensed it. So what's up?
So, this is what I want to ask you about. When Catherine came to our house today, she told us not to get involved with your guys anymore. Do you know anything about it?
What? I had absolutely no idea.
I see. So I thought it was strange.
I'm sorry. I should have said things to her more sternly. Besides, I was the one who let her say whatever she wanted the other day, too.
You've always been kind.
I'll ask her about it.
Are you sure? It's strange that she had said something like that. And she also said that I shouldn't contact her parents either. I'll ask them about that myself.
You guys were classmates, right? Then I'll leave that to you.
My son had nothing to do with this matter. It was Catherine's sole decision after all. I found out that my son had nothing to do with this matter. It was Catherine's sole decision after all. As I was pondering this, my phone rang. I thought it was from Matthew, but when I looked at the name on the phone, it showed Catherine. He must have already talked to her. I picked up the phone with these thoughts in mind.
What do you think you're doing?
What?
I told you not to contact, right?
Of course, I'll still contact my son. That's why poor people like you...
I couldn't help but be offended by her words.
We're not as poor as you might think. We may have a small company, but we're not as down and out as you're making it out to be. You don't have to put a good front.
I'm not. It's just a fact.
That's why I didn't want to get involved. I didn't miss her muttering this. I remembered that there was a time when she didn't come to see us for a long time.
You didn't come to see us for a long time before you got married because you looked down on us, right?
Well, it's obvious, isn't it?
Then let me ask you, why did you marry Matthew?
That's because he is different from you. He is excellent. We are going to make him take over our company at some point.
Are you serious?
Of course, I'm serious.
By this point, it was no longer anger, but rather pity that I was feeling. I agree that Matthew is excellent. However, I couldn't stand that she was looking down on not just me, but also my husband and my second son, Andrew.
I understand.
In that case, I have a plan too.
Your plan is probably not a good one.
I'm looking forward to it.
She hung up the phone as she laughed. My next move was set. It should be the most unpleasant method for Catherine. Pleasant method for Catherine. I have never been so happy to be friends with Jane in my life. I contacted Jane on the same day.
Catherine told me not to contact you at all. The thing is, Catherine told me not to contact you at all. Do you know anything about this?
What's that all about? I haven't heard anything about it.
I see. And she told me that you and your husband asked her to tell me.
We didn't say anything like that. I wonder what's going on in her mind.
I want to talk more about it. Can we meet?
Of course. How about tomorrow?
Sure, let's meet tomorrow. I'm sorry for the trouble.
Back in our school days, you were always helping me. Let me return the favor this time.
Thank you.
With that, my husband, Jane, Tom, and I formed a strategy meeting. I can't believe Catherine is like this.
How can I apologize?
No, Jane. There's no need for you to apologize. Yes, there is. It's our fault that she grew up to be spoiled like this. What will you do then? I will make sure she faces the consequences. And I'd like to apologize to you guys again, properly, if that's okay.
Of course. Thank you.
The strategy meeting of us parents ended. At that time, I think I saw Jane's determination to deal with her daughter not as a parent, but rather as an adult. A few days later, Catherine visited our house. When I saw her, I was put off. She was pale, and her appearance was something I couldn't have imagined from the time I had seen her until then. I'm sorry.
Those were the first words Catherine uttered.
Judging by her appearance, she must have been scolded quite severely by Jane.
Are you okay?
When I spoke, she began shedding large tears.
Today, I came here because my parents told me to apologize to you.
I see. I'm really sorry.
Please forgive me.
In the end, you lied, right?
That's correct. But it's not about forgiveness, Catherine.
That's not the issue here.
Then what should I do?
That's for you to figure out. You came here today only because you were scolded in the first place, right?
Why would you say like that?
I didn't think she would apologize sincerely. But I did expect her to snap back at me. How did her personality become so warped? I suddenly remembered that when the four of us, the parents, gathered, Jane mentioned that she had spoiled her daughter too much.
But deep down, you still don't want to get involved with us poor people, right? Then I'll make your wish come true.
If you do that, I won't be able to return home anymore. You sowed your own seeds, so you'll have to deal with it yourself. I'm still your daughter-in-law. How can you say like that?
Even if you get angry, nothing will change.
Maybe I shouldn't have gotten married.
You know, Catherine, what did you come here for today? You didn't come here to say something like that.
I don't care.
That's something I couldn't ignore. As we were talking, Matthew showed up.
Why are you here?
I heard everything from your parents and rushed over. They've left it all to me. I've been listening to the conversation you were having with my mom up until now. I never knew that you disliked my family so much. I've overlooked minor things until now, but you've gone too far this time.
Hold on a second. What's gonna happen to me?
You can do as you please.
Does that mean?
Simply put, we'll divorce.
You're joking, right?
No, I'm serious. And your parents have given their permission. But the reason for the divorce isn't just that. You're hiding something from me, aren't you? There's no way that I hide something from you. You're really bad at lying, Catherine. It shows on your face. Do you want me to say it?
I couldn't help but interrupt when I heard the unbelievable statement.
I must have found out about it recently because he had never talked about it before.
Wait a minute.
What is the thing she is hiding?
I found out about it recently, too. You couldn't have known. Apparently, she has spent a significant amount of money at a boys' bar. A mutual friend told me.
I can't believe it.
Since when? From what I've heard, she started going there before we got married. And she kept it hidden all this time.
Yeah, isn't that right?
This sucks.
Why did she tell you about it?
Rather than reflecting on her actions, she's so deeply corrupted. It is scary to imagine if this was after they had children. It might be a good thing that we found out about it now. Considering that there might be more things that she is hiding, Matthew might have made the right decision. To be honest, I don't think I can deal with someone like her.
This sucks. Do you even understand what you've done? Besides, it is unforgivable that you have kept it secret.
So what? And regarding the divorce, isn't it because my dad and mom have given up on you?
No, unfortunately that's not the case. It's you on whom they've given up.
No way.
Even though Matthew talked in a gentle manner as usual, what I felt from him was a quiet anger. Perhaps it's easier to understand if I say that he is the kind of person whom you don't want to upset. This personality might be more similar to my husband's rather than mine.
Don't worry. I'll send the divorce papers by mail later. Do you really think that you can do that?
If I tell my dad and mom, they could easily shut down a small construction company like this.
You really don't understand. In fact, it was them who suggested that we get divorced. They don't want to cause us any more trouble because of you.
They would never do such a thing. You are definitely lying.
If you can't believe it, then call them.
So Catherine quickly made a call to Jane and Tom. But they're not answering.
No wonder they are not answering, because they've given up on you.
When she heard that, Catherine slumped down right there.
I understand that she has lived her life thinking that she was a princess. But that doesn't mean she can do anything she wants. In the end, she was abandoned by her husband and also by her loving parents because of her own actions. I have no sympathy for that, of course, as this happened, all because of her condescending attitude toward others. After that, Catherine was kicked out of the house and was forced to live alone, just as Matthew said. Until she truly reflects on her actions, they would not even let her step on their property, let alone enter the house. It's uncertain when that might happen. At least, they made an arrangement for her so that she can get a job at an affiliated company. They, as parents, probably wanted to avoid the situation that their daughter is turned adrift in the streets. About a month has passed. However, she never really worked properly before. She seems to have been boasting to everyone about being the company president's daughter. Because of that, rumors soon spread that a crazy girl had joined the company. Moreover, people recognized her as a person whom they should avoid at her workplace because of her deeply ingrained condescending attitude. Well, given the way she treated our family, it's a fair consequence. I am sure that this is the kind of life she will be leading for a while. Our second son, Andrew, will take over our construction business in a few years. When that happens, my husband and I plan to enjoy a carefree life, perhaps even taking up farming. It's our lives, and we want to live them as we please.